Doesn't want to be famous? And I'll make him.
Previously, your screws.
Yeah. Eggs?
MJ, I'm Spider-Man.
Before or after the movie, no amount of hype was enough to say how much the fans liked No Way Home. Its worldwide box office nearly reached the 2 billion mark, which means it made the biggest wallet since 2019's Avengers Endgame. It proves one thing: No Way Home is a great fan service movie and an even better marketing example. And it also says much about the future of the MCU, cameos, and feminism. I'm exploring how Marvel seems to be treating its movies and shows. Even though No Way Home is mostly a Sony production, it still uses Disney formulaic storytelling to ensure it makes the most money possible.
Period, dipshit.
It's not a bad thing, I mean, who doesn't like money? I, for example, like money, so I don't want to be paying for movies or streaming services I wouldn't enjoy. My goal is to determine the MCU movie pattern and see if it's something we'd like going forward. When writing the script, the idea I had in mind was how Marvel has become all about cameos and feminism. Cameos are the most effective way to lure the loyal Marvel fans and make them sell the movie for free. Most fans became invested in the universe back in 2008, when the original Iron Man movie debuted. It's still one of the best in the franchise, in my opinion at least. However, a lack of proper and individual storytelling for each movie means Disney may not currently have the power to keep luring older and new fans. That's because they are mass producing their movies and shows. 2 shows per year and 2 films per year is a lot, but it also grants plenty of chances to sell tickets, subscriptions, toys, and other merchandises. The amount of production means they have to cut corners somewhere. The easiest route they found was treating their movies and shows like a true franchise would. For example, McDonald's, as a franchise, has a secret formula every store can use to make hamburgers with a similar taste and aesthetics as fast as possible. The second point I'm discussing is feminism. Some believe the era of the so-called MCU is coming, also as fast as possible. But I intend to tell you what this means regarding storytelling quality. Storytelling also comes with a set of messages and rules that heavily influence how stories shape. But let's start with the cameos and see how it applies to Spider-Man No Way Home. Everyone kept saying No Way Home is an amazing movie. It redefines the superhero genre and makes us fan happy. So I saw it as a regular Marvel fan. I've liked about half of the MCU movies. I don't like the shows, I have read some comics, and I have played some of its games. After watching the movie, I felt excited. Yeah, explosions, all the Spider-Mans, a top-notch Willem Dafoe performance, consequences, emotional moments, romance, jokes, it has everything. Then I just forgot about the movie, and a thought drifted through my mind. It made no sense, it was silly. You can do almost anything in a movie if your rules stay consistent and coherent, and viewers always need to suspend disbelief to some degree. However, you can no longer enjoy the movie after a certain threshold. The threshold is different for every person and for every genre. In drama movies, you expect everything to work like it does in the real world, but much more dramatic. In superhero films, you're okay with people popping out of portals. Yet, even the silliest movie needs to respect the rules viewers have come to understand along the story or along a series of interconnected movies. Otherwise, we may pass the disbelief threshold and check out. And the thing is, in No Way Home, the plot is the marketing wheel of Disney. Multiversal whatever opened the gateway to introduce the characters people wanted to see. Even Tom Holland said the script was rewritten almost daily during filming. The director and the writers couldn't find a logical way to introduce the cameos, but they did it nonetheless. Rather than picking apart the movie, I'll deliver a quick list. First, the Doctor Strange spell. The spell brought heroes from different universes and parallel timelines, but villains from different timelines and universes. The spell supposedly brought every person who knew Spider-Man, but not people like Aunt May or Mary Jane. The spell was a bad idea and it didn't work as intended, but Doctor Strange could have avoided the consequences by setting some rules beforehand, or doing the spell alone to prevent outside influences. He could have acted like he used to, the kind of hero who knows better and thinks ahead. Or he could have erased mysterious revelation from everyone's mind instead. But he's just a useless character, and he even loses against Peter Parker because of math. Now, Peter Parker's motivation. Parker is okay with meddling with time and reality to get what he wants. He's unable to solve regular human problems as any other person would. For example, he could appeal, work for a year, or try colleges in other states or countries. He's okay with using a dangerous spell just because he can't get to college. He's okay with betraying Doctor Strange and leaving him starving in another dimension, with no means of escaping. What a fucking asshole. He's also okay with risking everyone's life to do what he thinks it's right. He's also okay with doing highly dangerous activities in Happy's apartment without his permission. He doesn't use his influences, like Happy or Matt Murdock, to solve the problem. He's okay with Force healing the villains, even though they clearly prefer dying. And lastly, the conflict. The last battle is redundant. It includes a hero team-up, a villain team-up, and a giant beam in the sky. Only Peter Parker's will and desires matter, so saving villains from certain death, even if they belong to other universes and timelines, is heroic, and it doesn't present any issue whatsoever. So why did I watch Loki? It was certainly not for this. The movie's conflict is just a mess Peter Parker created for being selfish, self-righteous, and treacherous. The way he can solve the conflict is by healing the villains from their evilness, and he can do that by creating evil healing vaccines he makes on a Stark's 3D printer or a school laboratory, whatever, magic. And the spell doesn't go out of control either, because Ned developed magical powers without training. Hey Doctor Strange, are you hungry? Well, fuck you, solve my mess. Spider-Man is above meaningless things like rules, discipline, and responsibility. He's not a real person, much less a real hero. He's the vehicle Disney used to introduce the multiversal mechanics in their movies. And these mechanics, as you see, can work in any way, shape, or form the writers please. It's tough, and it happens. Disney says each movie or show is part of an interconnected story, but in reality there's no connective tissue and no overarching plot. The one thing connecting the content though is a formula, and cameos are part of the formula. In essence, a multiversal instability will introduce new characters and villains. Then, heroes from different whatevers will team up for an ultimate battle against villains. Phase 4 onwards requires multiversal shenanigans to introduce new characters and IPs Disney recently bought. Also, cameos are an effective marketing ploy.
Oh my god!
Even if the characters appear for 5 minutes, a couple of seconds, or a single episode, it will sell. Fans can find it incredibly exciting, as a confirmation of everything they have liked and consumed for years. And it doesn't matter how these characters appear, much less who. No grand rules tell us what to expect and what the consequences would be. It's just stuff happening. Whatever Marvel needs to feed their marketing and introduce their villains, heroes, and plot devices. No longer we will see stories about a character, a hero's journey, or a real character arc. And there are 2 reasons for it. First, cameos aren't a significant challenge for writers, so they can create these stories faster. Rather than producing a compelling narrative, their job is going from point A to point B. Point A is the introduction of a conflict or a character. And point B is a CGI-heavy final fight where specific characters must participate. Whatever is in between doesn't matter. More importantly, cameos and multiversal plotlines allow Marvel to replace characters and events to fit whatever kind of politics they handle at any given moment.
Mark? You're telling us what to do, even though all this is kinda your mess. You know, I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
The MCU. In 2019, Thor Ragnarok's director Taika Waititi gave the hammer to Natalie Portman's Jane Foster. It was a meaningful event, one of the first hints of what was to come. This is the official start of the modern female protagonist we see on Marvel shows and movies. However, the trend was already present in other studios, like here, or here, or here, and here. The pattern is clear. Over the years, Disney, alongside other Western studios, has been spreading a series of messages, lessons even, and they are teaching us that women are always better than men.
You, but you nearly took down the organization that claims to govern the order of time. You did it on your own. You had rings around them. You're amazing.
Women need a constant reminder of how good they are, or emotional validation.
Call yourself one of the world's greatest archers.
I like this one.
Every day more people love you.
I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
Women do everything better without effort, discipline, or study. They have self-taught mastery.
Whatever it is.
You taught yourself that magic.
I wasn't allowed to train with the boys, but I watched everything they did and taught myself to do it better.
The biggest enemy women face is men trying to hold them back.
Can you keep your emotions in check long enough to take me on? Or will they get the better of you as always?
Your boss wanted your father dead.
Girls are always stronger than guys, even if the men have the literal size of an SUV. In fact, women can't be defeated. Unless they defeat themselves or by another woman, even if they are a villain. Similarly, feminine traits are undesirable. Women should be more like men, rough, bulky, reckless, and kings rather than queens. Girls are above the law.
The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be.
And they have the right to earn power simply because they want to.
This Captain Marvel's weird. I spend too much time in Fantasyland. Cool, is this 90s?
And with power, they can get anything they want.
For you. You're gonna give me your jacket, your helmet, and your motorcycle, and in return, I'm gonna let you.
Girls are automatically friendly to each other because they are girls.
She's got help.
I'm sorry. Monica, I know. I'm a big fan.
If a woman is bad, she's just tragically misunderstood.
Cell in my body is torn apart and stitched back together. Over and over every day.
She's just a kid.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
It wouldn't change how they see me.
And men force her to do evil.
I had to put a chip in the back of her neck.
Thanos pulled my eye from my head and my brain from my skull.
Regardless, women have no consequences for their actions.
Goodbye, Monica.
Bye, Wanda.
I stole the key to unlocking free will.
And their only character arc is being powerful. Women also deserve power and recognition immediately, no matter the crimes or behaviors of their past. Even this girl was a slave trader and organized arena fights to fuel her alcoholism. Because women can be evil, not like men, not like fathers.
Oh, you can't hear me, huh?
Desperate to restore his name, so he took risks. Too many. Until something went wrong.
You find it difficult to look at her. I do.
She's not back there, Dad.
Get out of my way, boy.
Women are instead bosses. They lead, inspire, and achieve victory without effort.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Let's get started. We have a lot of work to do.
If you're thinking what I think you're thinking, it's a bad idea.
My fiance is taking the fall for slum. But my daughter is home now, and that's where I draw the line.
Because men deserve denigration rather than recognition.
When you gave Thanos the time stone?
Or just kicks in the balls. And if men are part of the story, they are usually on some sort of personal quest.
So, are you two like twins?
No.
Yes, sort of.
Hey.
I need to figure out exactly who I am. I love you.
In need of constant saving.
That was awesome. Now he's using me.
Because they are useless.
Okay. Wait. What do you mean?
Unable to stand up for themselves.
Magic powers. They're no good in the TVA.
No, you're bloody useless unless you're actually doing what you're paid to do, which is to sell these to children.
Got it.
Weak. Secondary.
This isn't about you.
He reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Disposable. Pathetic.
Where have you been?
Oops, wrong franchise, but... And sexualized.
Oh, hey, you must be MJ.
Which is why women need to actively mock male heroes.
Hulk and little Hulk, Bada Hulk or Choti Hulk. Huh? So cute you all will look. Huh?
You could be an Avenger. Oh, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans.
The second part of the MCU story is the plan.
This looks crazy right now.
In 2018, Marvel's executive producer Kevin Feige said there will be a time when more than half the superheroes will be female.
Hey, Peter Parker.
Why? Perhaps because the genre underrepresents women, and recent studies have shown women like the action and superhero film genres almost as much as men. So the answer is introducing more female heroes into the movies and shows, and not any hero, strong female heroes. There are not many studies on the matter, so this is just a guess. Luckily, Mr. Feige says it better than me. But as the plan goes forward, I think frankly will be, eventually. I think we're going to reach a time where it's not just, listen, it would be amazing to see all of our female characters the way we have seen most, never all male, but primary male.
I'm not you.
Cameos, a lack of cohesive rules and convoluted plot mechanics make it easy to swap characters. So we get events like a very thin Taskmaster, a female Loki that wasn't part of the series marketing, a female Hawkeye who doesn't look very athletic, a female Thor by a secondary character that last appeared in a horrible movie from 2013, and more to come. And if you can't swap characters, you can also give the role of a male character to a female one.
With great power comes great
responsibility.
I see two issues with it. First, there are too many rules to follow to tell the message Disney wants to tell. This gets in the way of the story by making it repetitive and predictable. Moreover, male and female heroes and villains appear inauthentic. They are not compelling characters, because they are a message first and a real person within a story second. The second issue is how the message becomes a priority rather than the quality of the story. As a result, we get low-effort plots with nonsensical conveniences. It means there are no compelling story arcs because the story must fulfill unnatural requirements. For example, we see the results of the low effort in subpar performances by actresses who don't seem to care or like what they do. Like here, here, or here. We also see actresses who refuse to get in shape and look athletic on screen as they fight, run, and jump. Wait. Much better.
That is America's ass.
Either way, directors rely on jump cuts, special effects, harnesses, and other tricks to make stuff like this sketchy punch look somehow professional. Overall, these productions have no passion because the plots are not authentic anymore. They are instead corporate-level goodies for mass consumption and mass production. So, instead of stories focusing on why someone deserves power, how he got it, and how he will wield it,
I am Iron Man.
we get stories about women who are already strong and worthy, and they simply learn how to use power or stumble upon power.
I have nothing to prove to you.
Or, instead of great action scenes like this, we get highly edited scenes like this one. Perhaps now you can see how MCU stories follow a pattern, and a pattern is not a coincidence. Consistency results from following a set of rules to get accurate results. That's how they depict men and women in similar ways across their movies and shows. Through repetition, these depictions represent messages. You may not see them clearly, but they can grow at the back of your mind. These are ideas that undermine a society that has always relied on moral and family values. Traditional pillars like respect, tolerance, effort, discipline, hard work, study, patience, generosity, and humility seem to be lost in the modern MCU female hero. Moreover, the pattern teaches us to recognize others for superficial traits like skin color and genre, and that means losing the humbling value of recognizing others for their actions and words. The media we consume can affect how we relate to the world and to other people. In particular, kids and teenagers are highly susceptible to influence. You see, people don't mature until 25 years old. This is how long it takes for the brain to fully develop. This is also the time we spend with our families, school, college, and first jobs, all of which are essential for creating our identity and personality. And the circumstances, people, and content that surround us during our life can influence our perspective. More importantly, we are social creatures, and we use stories to transmit information and values from one community or individual to another, or from generation to generation. So, what happens when most of the content looks, sounds, and says the same or similar things? We may unconsciously believe and like what we're seeing simply because of repetition and familiarity, or at least we may begin doubting our predefined ideas. In fact, studies show how adults and kids have a tendency to believe a lie, an idea, or a concept after they've heard or seen it at least once. In numbers, people of all ages believe a statement is true after hearing it more than once. According to studies of the illusory effect, we believe about 70% of the repeated lies we see. In comparison, we believe about 60% of true new things. Here's a second study by the Institute of Psychology in Philadelphia. Young people can change their emotional and cognitive assessment regarding certain groups of people after seeing a movie with said group of people. In particular, it mostly impacts ethnic, gender, and age stereotypes. Also, it makes viewers create new opinions and even take action regardless of the validity of what the movie says. College and high school students may also change their attitudes, but the result is much less pronounced. Related studies talk about transportation theories. See, there are immersive narratives, those that encourage you to forget about the real world and place yourself within the fiction. When this happens, the narration becomes highly persuasive, and it can influence the beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors of both adults and children. These scientific arguments are aside from what we already believe to be true. Movies and shows can inspire, teach, and motivate people, or create more awareness about certain facts. And lastly, the influence of mass media as a whole on societies is well documented. It can even lead people to vote, act, and think in certain ways. That's okay for now. All that's left is sharing my conclusion and also offer my sincere gratitude if you watched the video this far. There are far sillier things than No Way Home within Disney alone, like this. But No Way Home is still an enjoyable movie that has good performance, entertaining action, real consequences, character growth, and a full circle story for the other two Spider-Man. It's easy to see why Disney would use cameos and feminism for their upcoming Marvel stories though. Cameos, the jangling keys, lure fans with the promise of seeing something they like, and with the certainty of butts in seats, then comes feminism. And lastly, a lack of cohesive rules allows Disney Marvel to swap characters and make things happen unnaturally. The question is, do you like how these ideas are creeping into the entertainment you are consuming? Do these values identify you? Do you want your kids to learn this? And are you still going to pay for it? So tell me what you think in the comments. I gladly welcome all points of view as long as you keep it
civilized.
Subscribe, thumbs up, and see you in the future.